Hi, Gaye DeRusso with the Majestic Rider, here today on Sport, who's now called Henry, and we were working on getting his head down and getting him to relax his back and bend and reach up with his inside hind leg to help him to engage. So this is his running walk, and we're just trying to get him to do this a little bit more relaxed and more consistent because he kept changing his speed and he kept pulling some on the bit, okay? Now, in a minute, we're going to go up to his saddle gait. When you go to a saddle gait, it's going to have a shorter stride than your running walk. So you're going to have to ride it in the beginning till the horse understands with a shorter rein so you can collect them some, okay? Now, some people think all the weight's on the front end when you're doing a saddle gait. It's not. The power, you can feel it when horses do it well, how they're working off their back end when they're doing that saddle gait, but instead of reaching up underneath themselves more, they have a shorter step, so there's more collection, and their legs go more up and down in the back, so there's a lot more hock action, okay? He was pulling a little bit there in case you saw me doing stuff with my hands. So there's a shorter stride, more up and down motion. Now as you collect them, some of them, even if they have a nice running walk, will start getting pacy, okay? So the poles will help you. So if you can have some poles, I have 4 out here, you can use those poles if he starts getting step pacy. The other things you can do is you use lateral movements like a leg yield, a shoulder in, a little serpentine, stay in a circle. All those things will help you to get that horse to saddle gait if it's pacey and stay out of the pace. But your timing has to be good and you got to reward the try, okay? And they got to be really warmed up. The pacey horses need a fair amount of warm up, and if you don't warm them up, guess what? They'll stay pacey. So you got to get them warmed up and relaxed before you go for that saddle gait if you want it to be smooth. I don't like them to stop and go to the bathroom because it's always right in the middle of gaiting. Okay. So what I'm going to do is speed him up. So here we go. Let's see what he does. So he's pacing and step pacing. So he's pulling. I'm going to turn his head left. He's still step pacing. So first I'm going to work on his head a little bit, then I'll go over the pole. So he's pulling. So he doesn't understand. Now he's better, so I got to let go so he knows that's the right answer. And there he was smooth. Okay? Now again, the footing changes, so he might get a little pacey. We'll see. Nope, still pretty good. So you saw just from me just releasing and getting it. Releasing and getting his head down and going a little sideways. I got him smoother, okay? So you'll see, compared to the running walk, especially with him, this is very smooth. But he's still got to bend, and I want to relax and release a little when his head's down. Because again, with pacey, the more the neck and the back is relaxed, the better. Now, I don't want it on the ground because we don't want them falling on their face because they're not paying attention either. So keep it, the lowest, just below your saddle horn. There's pacey, so I'm holding. Now my right leg, now my left leg, now I'm releasing. So I had to catch his body, and his body was going to the right. Now I forgot what I was saying. This happens when you're old, right? Too much information in my brain. But anyhow, so I'm trying to get him to do this more relaxed. So it's very smooth. So if you don't have, say you have a walking horse and you're like, I really don't like that running walk and the flat walk, because you have one with a really big stride, you can teach it to saddle gait, and it'll give you a nice smooth little gait. You just got to work at it. And if you have one with big huge stride, when you walk slow, it's going to do that camel walk. So when you walk slow, collect it. Make it take little steps. That won't happen as much. But if you don't, they just swing because that's easier for them. Okay? So see how he's being good? Whoa. Now get his head down. So now he gets break. We got one little cookie. You can have one cookie. So You want to stop when they're doing the right thing. Everybody stops when they're doing the wrong thing. Everybody stops when they yank on their bit. Everybody lets go of the reins when the horse yanks their head. And that's how they get these bad habits. They don't start with them. They react to what you're doing. And every time you release, if it's the wrong time, they learn whatever they were doing when you released is the right thing to do, because that's when you let go of me. So when they yank on the reins and you let go by accident, they got to release. Okay? If you're gaiting around and they were doing well and they throw their head up and you release, they go, oh, I'll throw my head up more. So whatever you do, they keep doing more and more. Okay? Now we're going to go back to work. So his flat walk and his running walk, I didn't really give him breaks because he had those pretty good and he knew what he was doing. But the saddle gait, not as much. Okay? So now I'm going to start over. So I always go through the gaits, especially when they're in training, because it means they're confused. That's why they're here usually. Now I'm going to speed up. Now as I speed up, I don't want him to throw his head up. So when he kind of threw his head up there, now I'm blocking him with my right leg. There we go. Okay? So they can't speed up, so he just sped up. I held, but then I released. So some of you are not releasing, so you got to release and feel what they're doing. Speeding up, head's coming up, hold, 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 left leg, release. Speeding up, hold, release. Because he slowed down. I could feel him slowing down. Now you got to build up your feel, because many of you don't have feel, so you can't feel them slowing down, where I can feel the try. Hear me breathing? Because his gait was good, so I didn't want to mess with his mouth, but he was speeding up. They are going to speed up in different parts of the arena because of the footing. The footing affects all your gaited horses, for good and for bad. So he's got to learn to stay the same speed. How did they learn to stay the same speed? Half halt leg, half halt leg. Sometimes you got to do it at the same time. Sometimes you do it at separate times. You got to figure that out. Okay, and then he's getting crooked. He got a little pacy, so I'm bending him a little more. Get his head down a little more, and then release. Now he's going to be distracted. He's watching, there's a vet check or something going on. So he's going to be distracted here. Okay? Now let's take him over a pole, because that might get his attention back. I'm going to sit back in case he's not paying attention. Now his head came up, but otherwise he did the pole well. I don't want his head up at the pole. Okay? Good job. Now I'm going to go back and breathe. He's not paying attention. Nope, I just bumped him with my left rein because he was unfocused. Okay? Many of you let them look around, and then you go, why is he tripping? And I go, because he hasn't paid one attention to where his feet are going. He's just looking around the whole time. Hold, release, because he was speeding up there. So you got to practice this over and over. It's not like you take an hour lesson and you got it. No, you got to keep practicing. That was very nice right there. Now you sped up more. Now that horse is running around behind me, so it created some more energy. So you saw I shortened up, got his head back, but it did make him saddle gait well. Oh, that's something I wanted to talk about, and I keep forgetting everybody. So many horses will saddle gait when they spook. When something comes up behind them and spooks them and they shoot forward, your gaited horse a lot of times will fall into a saddle gait. It's because something scared it from behind. It got itself in the correct frame, kind of collected itself, and did short little steps. So if you have spooky horse, but then it saddle gaits, when you start thinking, hey, I want this thing to spook all the time because it gaits well, your horse will stop spooking because you'll start doing stuff to make it spook, and then he's like, oh my God, I'm not spooking anymore. It's too much work. So remember that. Now here it's good. Sped up, half halt. But see, now I'm going to ride a little different because they're doing stuff. So I'm not going to be as relaxed because they're going to be creating energy and running back and forth. Okay, now I'm going to whoa. Whoa. I meant stop, but I said whoa. Good job. So now we're going to turn again. Now stop, get his head down. Good. So again, if you break it into pieces, it's much easier, and it's much easier for them to understand. Good boy. Now we're going to try it this way. So we're going to slowly speed up. I'm going to ask for more and more. Kind of go through your gait, your flat walk, and I'm in towards your running walk. Then I'm going to use both legs and ask him to go faster. Okay. Now, not bad. Now, I'd like his head a little lower, just like on cue. Now, there, it's too high. Now, the footing right here is not good. You'll hear me say it in all the videos, and right by the gate isn't the best either. So that's usually where they fall out of gait or have some issues. So again, if he's gaiting well, I'm just letting my arms go. I'm not pumping them or doing anything. I'm just holding my body still, staying out of his way. But see, he's focused on them. So I just squeezed and relaxed on that rein 2 or 3 times to get his attention back on me. That's better. Now my legs and everything are totally relaxed. But he's speeding up. So I'm going to breathe. Still speeding up. I'm going to bring his head back down because it started getting higher. I'm going to hold him. He just drifted left. And you're like, oh my God, that's so much stuff to do. Yeah, it is. That's why the horses don't look as good. You know, when the trainers aren't riding them, we catch all that stuff. There he stepped pace, so I half halted. So you got to be aware, focus. This is why you really have to focus, most of you, and focus on what you're doing. I had one client tell me, she said, did you notice I didn't talk for a whole year on the trail when we were in groups? And I said, no, because so many people are talking to me. Now breathe. The energy's coming up because that horse is running around. Breathe. See how he reacted to the energy? And what did I do? I leaned back, held him, and I stuck my spur in his side. Like, don't pay attention to that. Okay? He's not a spooky horse, but any of them will become spooky if you don't pay attention and just let them start reacting to things. You're like, you know better than that. Think about it. He's fine. And we're going to keep staying over here every time he runs over. So you get used to it, but people avoid, and you make the situation worse. So see, now I can relax again. But I had to pick up and help him for a bit and then relax. So you got to think about what you're doing. And she said she didn't talk for a year because she couldn't think about her riding and talk, which was good. She was a very good rider and a safe person. And she also said that she didn't know her butt cheeks were clenched. And when she finally did release them a year later, she felt the difference. She's like, thank God that horse didn't do anything. But many times we're doing things we don't know we're doing. We're tense. We're hanging. And that's where your lessons will help you, okay? Because there's many things you don't see me doing. I just squeezed right, then I squeezed left with my hands. Now I'm holding my right leg. Now my left leg. Now I'm half halting again. And then I released. Now I'm breathing. Oopsie. So he slowed down too much because I breathed. That's okay. Don't reprimand him. He did what I asked. He slowed down. It was just too much. But I'm like, thanks, dude. That was nice that you tried. And then give. Okay? If you let your horse set pace at all, it's not going to kill them, but it's not the best for their body. If you start letting them step pace, they will start step pacing all the time because it's easier. Okay? It's like sitting on the couch and getting money versus going to work. Wouldn't you stay on the couch and get paid for watching TV? I would. So the horse is like the same thing. Like, if you don't care, I don't care. Don't tell Gaye. Don't tell her you're messing me up. But I'm always trying to get the perfect gait. But if you don't care, the problem is once you start letting them pace, step pace, or trot, that's what they're going to try to do all the time because you let them. And then you got to retrain them instead of just keeping what they had. So to me, it's always important. If you're going to get a gaited horse, learn how to ride it correctly. Unless it's pacing or trotting in the beginning, and you need help anyhow. But otherwise, you're trying to hold tight. I'm holding tight because he's pulling. He's still pulling. He put his head down, but then he was pulling on me. So I had to wait until he put it down. So many years ago when I had this horse, I had to have his head up to do his saddle gait and rack. But now we don't. He's stronger. He's built. He's almost, completely done growing. So now he can gait in a better frame. So I'm going to speed up a little bit now that he's warmed up. See me kind of wiggle back and forth? Now I'm going to bring his head down because he's trying to bring it up. And I was like, you don't have to do that anymore. You're better than that. Right? You could do it so much better. So this is So this is a horse that in time could gait on a loose range. It's not now because he's a little confused. But if you get it and you let go, see, that would be a loose rein. Now he thinks he can stop there. But at this point in time, he can't. And if I start doing that, it's going to take twice as long if I just keep, going around like, yeah, it's great. Here's 2 steps. Here's 1 step. Oh, yep, there's a pace. It's okay. No, I can keep him in the gait. Yes, am I micromanaging at the point? Yes, not totally, but I am. So I can do it, and I can teach them to do it, and then over time, once they get the hang of it, and the owners do, I've had owners come in pacing, and then they're riding their horse bareback on a loose rein, gaiting. But you got to get the feel, and you got to get the timing, and then you got it all. Okay. Now, I was just going to stop, and did you see what happened? It got a little bumpy. Here he's good. There he's a little bumpy. That's a bad footing. Now I'm going to let go again. Okay, that's decent. So stop the same way every time. I didn't even pull on him, and he stopped and put his own head down. Okay, so that's our saddle gait, and work on it in steps. So lateral flexion, vertical flexion. Okay, do your stop and get your horse's head down with vertical flexion. Do that over and over, and once they can do that well, then you walk around and try to keep their head down all the time. But if you try to go from lateral flexion to vertical flexion and just walking around keeping their head down, it's much harder. So by walking and stopping, you're teaching them to give to the bit and to slow down. So that way they understand when you let go of the reins, they're not supposed to speed up. They're supposed to slow down. So do it all in steps, and you'll get there, and it'll be much better. And then you release every time to try to get their neck and back released. And you saw me with Flyboy. Some of the horses need poles all the time. He doesn't, but Flyboy did it in the beginning, and now he doesn't. The poles are a way to help us get the horse fit, get it in condition, and get its legs separated. But it's a tool that we use. See, now he's running towards me, and I'm ready to grab the reins if he does something, but he feels relaxed. But it's a tool. We're not going to use it forever. We're just going to use it when they have problems, and we'll go back to it if we need to, but otherwise we don't. Okay. So remember, like and subscribe. Hope that helps all of you.